Each Sunday, we like to sit down with a local political expert, Jasper Licalzi, to learn a little bit more about our legislature. Tonight, a closer look at who controls the purse strings inside the Statehouse.
We're with Jasper Licalzi from the College of Idaho in Caldwell, and this week we're going to learn a little more about the money coming in and the money, more importantly, going out. We hear JFAC mentioned a lot. We talk about a lot about it in the news. The Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee. Jasper, would you say it's the most important committee at the State House?
Without a doubt, because the most important thing the legislature does is the budget and spending. That's what they do.
They're cutting the check, so to speak.
They're cutting this check, so that's the most important.
Okay.
When I first came here, over 20 years ago, and I saw this structure with JFAC, I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Why do they do it this way? Because most of us know about how the legislature works. It's the old schoolhouse rock,
sure.
You know, and a bill up on Capitol Hill,
They
right?
make it pretty simple to understand.
And bill passes the House, passes Senate, then goes to a conference committee, and they come up with a compromise, which goes back to the House and Senate. What the state legislature's done is got rid of the whole first step there. Let's start with the conference committee, which is what JFAC is. It's a joint committee, so there's members from the House and the Senate in there.
Okay.
So instead of the House and Senate each passing a spending bill and then getting together to come up with a compromise, well, let's start with a compromise. So that's what they do. So we cut out a whole section.
Does that make sense?
When you see it in practice, it does. And when you see that they're only in session for 3-4 months, it really makes sense that you can get things done much more quickly. And what they do, how it actually works is we're in the first part of the process is JFAC holds hearings. So and we've seen some of this already. Those who are head of different agencies come before them and say, hey, this is how much money we need and such. We saw Sherry Ibarra there. We saw all the presidents of the universities.
Sure.
We saw Fish and Game, and everybody goes up there and says, this is how much money we need. So we have these hearings there. And then, I guess in about another week or so, JFAC says, okay, time out. We're going to take 2 weeks off. Usually around 2 weeks off, and they're not going to do anything. And before they come back and actually set the budgets, go, well, why do they take this time off? Well, some of it's go talk to constituents, more of it's to talk to their colleagues.
Right.
Because if they're going to come up with a budget, some spending bills, and send it to the House,
they want to make sure it has some kind of support.
Exactly. They want to make sure that it's something that's going to pass the House and Senate, so it'll be efficient. So the way they do it, and they have two. I consider the two chairs are just great, Maxine Bell and Dean Cameron, both from the same district, as a matter of fact. But they've been doing this for years. They know how to do it. And what's so important about people, we've been talking about all these other types of issues, whether it's Medicaid or the career ladder for teachers. No matter what any of these other committees do, it still has to come back to appropriations. Because you can say, this is what we're going to do with the career ladder in the Education Committee. Well, unless JFAC actually comes up with the money for it, it doesn't really matter. So no matter what anybody else does, it's still the guys with the money who are going to decide things. It's powerful. These are the people who know everything also, which they have to do.
So using your analogy of Schoolhouse Rock, it's the legislature who bakes the pie, but JFAC gets to cut it up.
There you go. Well, and actually, the way to think of it is almost that the tax committees bake the pie because they determine how big the pie is.
Oh, that's true.
And then what JFAC does is decide who gets the pie and who gets how much. And remember, when it comes, half of that pie goes to education, just about. But even just a little bit difference there can mean a lot.
And no seconds.
No seconds. No, all you got is you just get and no Alamo, no ice cream.
No, nothing extra on it. All right, Jasper, it's always a pleasure. We'll see you next week.
Next week.
Next week. All right.